Our Waterfall Charter presentation for our Team 2 for our emergency preparedness project. This is our critical path diagram. We're picking 1 to 2 disasters to prepare for, researching anything that could happen, purchasing the necessary supplies, organizing the supplies and making them easily accessible, and recording details of each step in a guide to help prepare others for disasters. These extra non-critical things on the sides are things that we can do to assist in preparing, not necessarily, but they would help us in this preparation. These are for disasters that happen suddenly. If we prepare for them now, we won't have to worry about them in the moment's notice, and it'll just be a lot easier to go about these emergencies and maybe even help others through them as well. Many of the items needed are already located in the house. We just want to make sure that everyone's prepared and we have all the supplies that we need. We want to spend only 4 weeks doing this project. 2 weeks researching the disasters and 1 week organizing, the last week creating the step-by-step plan to help everyone in this thing. We want to be able to get out of our homes in 10 to 15 minutes with all the valuable assets and as well as all our emergency supplies that we're putting together. Our scope, we want it necessary, feasible, prioritized, verifiable, and unambiguous. As mentioned in previous presentations, it's necessary. We want to keep our family and friends alive and safe. It's many ways can be interpreted for the preparedness level of our team, and everyone's different, so that will vary. Prioritize, this is 1 to 2 group disasters that we're organizing, because what we may have in Idaho, someone else might not have the same disasters in Florida, natural disasters. Verifiable, we want to go through test scenarios so that we are really prepared for these. We want to clearly stating which disasters we're researching and how we can prepare for them for everybody going over our presentation and our guide at the end. This is our work breakdown structure. We want to make sure we have a plan, budget, supplies, and testing running through the tests. We want to make sure that we'll have supplies that'll last us at least 72 hours. Make sure that all the supplies are stored properly and well in advance for the disaster. We don't want to be preparing for a hurricane the day before we expect it to hit. We want to make sure that it's ready for us when needed. We will then be testing them, making sure that we can prepare. We're very prepared for what we're going through. And this is just a breakdown of our tests, and we had mentioned those in previous presentations as well. Our first test will be completed in an afternoon. A friend will send a text to the group reporting their disasters occurring right now, and then we want to make sure that we can time our escape route and grabbing our emergency kits and everything to determine the best way we need to go and get out of there in a timely manner. The second test, we'll have a family or friend inspect the supplies and get the outside opinion of the situation, how we can better prepare for it, or if they believe we're very prepared for a disaster. This is our quality breakdown just for when those tests occur. We just want to make sure that we're really planning on all aspects of these emergency situations. There is a lot of risk. We want to make sure we're keeping the budget under $200 per member. Sometimes that can be financially difficult, which is we're in this class, we're doing it over a 4-week period of time, but you may be able to do that over a longer period of time in your personal situation. We just want for this project, each of us individually, we want to make sure we're doing it in this way and this quickly. Um, Additional risk items would be in the event of a fire, any room that your valuables could be in, the fire could have already spread to them. In the case of a forest fire, you might be at risk of being evacuated, so you want to make sure you have an evacuation plan and making sure you know where to go. Flash flooding is hard because there could be paths already flooded. Either of these disasters could cause power outage or phone lines down and everything, which will hinder any of your evacuation plans or contacting any other people. Another unforeseen disaster that could arise, and you might not be prepared for that one specifically. So, or also food that you've set out could have spoiled or leaked anything. Resources, we want to make sure we have computers and electronic communication devices like computers, cell phones, mobile data hotspot. This is just a little detailed version of our resources. So we want to, any or all of these things would be really beneficial. Having a portable AM/FM radio, data hotspot, it would be great if you have that on your phone plan. But like I said earlier, you might not be able to use it. We want food, dry canned food or non-perishable items. Can opener if necessary if you've got canned food. Water that's bottled or sealed. Filtering water bottles is always a great idea. First aid kit with bandages, creams, tape. Even a sewing kit I've heard comes in handy often. A flashlight, maps, GPS devices, backpacks with functional straps to ease in the carrying if transportation is not going to be available. If you're hiking in the woods, you don't want to be carrying a purse. You want to be carrying maybe a backpack would be better. Wool blankets or space blankets, depending on the disaster that you're preparing for. Garbage bags are always a great idea. Cash money for any additional resources if needed. Then making sure that any research materials needed, and then also location and time of the location, place, meeting place, and also time scheduled if needed. You probably want to print that out, even print out a map of that or how to get there and put that in your kit as well. Gathering the supplies is what's going to take the most. It'll take anywhere from 1 hour to 5 hours of buying items, gathering them, and finally putting them into place. Gathering supplies should take no more than 2 hours. Gathering documents, probably 1 hour. So we'd want to make sure we have anywhere from 2 to 8 hours to set aside for this. And here's a good timeline that we have just over the period of our few weeks here. And we just want to make sure that we have all our testing done, our research, everything, and our integration. Cost. Here's a cost breakdown of our supplies. So it's just a really good one for one person or even for 4 people, family of 4. This is kind of a rough estimate of pricing, which is great. Cost management plan. We want to make sure we're aware of our units of measurement and how they're defined. The first is monetary value, so how much money we're going to be spent for this project. You want to basically budget it and also tracking the hours going into it. Level of precision. We want to make sure the estimated costs have been rounded to allow for the possibility of going over budget. And the estimated hours of gathering the supplies is subject to increase as well. Accuracy. We want to make sure that multiple sites were researched for the range of costs for our supplies. We want to get probably the best deal we can, but we still want quality items in there. We want to make sure that we can best utilize our hours with our people who are gathering these supplies. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed our presentation here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask us. Thank